Here's the deal. Ayaka has been my favorite character since 2.0, and I currently own her at C6R5. I wanted to compare her against the C3R1 Skirk, who is now my new favorite character, and a 5.7 unit. Usually these units wouldn't be comparable, but because of this version's Abyss buffs, considering they're both of the same element and she is a direct power creep to her, I wanted to run them both through the Abyss and do a comparison to see if my C6R5 Ayaka could still stand the test of time versus a C3R1. So I chose the middle one here, character defense minus 15 and attack plus 40% for all showcases, all normal attack and damage showcases that you're going to see. So starting off first with the perpetual mechanical array, I waited until he would get completely disabled with full health so I could get an accurate comparison of damage. And you can see that my C6R5 being carried with my C6R1 Shenhe, C6 Yunjin, and C0 with her signature Jalon, my bad, it's pretty comparable. Damage is 120s, 105s, 144s for the charge attack, 119, 120, 128, 105s again. You can see when it's critting, it's pretty solid numbers, right? Most respectable, very impressive, still good enough to give 3 stars in the Abyss. So I was pretty, excited about these numbers. I was pretty happy about it because that was a normal attack showcase specifically designed to boost normal attacks. And the one that we're seeing here is going to be her burst showcase. Now the thing with Ayaka's burst is it's about 60 hits once you hit C2, I believe. And C4 is when it amplifies the damage. She is C6. So there's going to be 60 hits total on screen plus her normal attacks. And it's all blending into like probably a total of 70 attacks in the middle of 5 seconds. So I'm not going to try to read all these numbers to you. You can just take what you will about it. A respectable amount of time for it to take out the perpetual mechanical array, and still was able to within a single burst, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. Now here comes the big one. This is Skirk with the new buffs, new characters, and her perfect team. Slowing it down, 200Ks, 300Ks, and then eventually finishing it off with the 400K whop. Oh, I don't even know what to tell you guys there. That was insane. It took 3 normal attack rotations for Ayaka at C6R5. It took 1 for C3R1 Skirk. And this is the burst. It's laughable. It happened so fast that I had to slow it down to 1/8 the speed so you can actually see the numbers because it's so quick. Like, boom, dead, right? So here's the first one, 671, 671, 678,328, and it was dead before the other 3 attacks could hit. That was only half of them. There were two more that were the exact same strength, and then there was a final blow that's like almost double. It's like 1.5 to 1.8 times stronger than those slashes. So we'll call it around like 750 to 800,000. Now, for everyone out there, these are going to be the stats of all the characters we just showcased. I'm going to go through my Skirk and Ayaka first for a direct comparison. They're both on their best in-slot set. And then I'm going to go over all the support characters so you guys can get an idea of what they look like. Obviously, I've already kind of put myself on blast. I do have a C6R1 Shenhe. So she's a good buffer for both of them since they both have normal attacks and pretty much are unlimited in that aspect. It's pretty amazing what C6 can do for these crowd characters. And then in general, I think my Ayaka is pretty well invested. Like you can see her ratio is pretty nice. She has a really nice crit damage, crit rate. She's fully invested in terms of being 10-10-10 basically for all 3 of her talents. And in general, she has her signature weapon like an R5. She's doing crazy things out there. But even at a 60 to 250 versus a 45 to 306 ratio, the attack was one of the big things. My Skirk had like 2150 versus the 1800 that Ayaka had. I can't get lucky. I've been farming for years and I couldn't get lucky for her set, unfortunately. It seems like Ayaka falls behind by a lot. It's unfortunate, right? All my characters are well invested. All my characters are well built. I'm kind of just talking over it, as you can kind of see in the background here, what their stats look like. So if there's anything that you're invested in, anything that you're curious about, please pause the video. Feel free to look back at it as you will. I'm just going to kind of let it breeze through as I go over it. The funny thing is, fun fact, I was at over 50 million Mora before all this started, and then I started leveling characters and talents, and I've burned through like 13 million Mora in the last like month. I've leveled up, I think I've crowned 6 to 7 characters, and some of them were like for instance gaming as you guys would call him. Gaming was one of those characters that I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna build, why would I've got Hutal, I've got Arlecchino, blah blah blah, there's no reason to. But he's like, you know what, I decided to build them because, Imaginarium Theater is starting to become more and more of a difficult task for me. So I'm starting to realize that I wanted to build up more and more characters in a more DPS orientation so I can have more spread across all elements, because there are some that I know I'm not very well invested in, like for instance Pyro, Electro, Geo. These are all elements that I'm not very highly invested in. Most of my DPSs are Cryo and Hydro, because those just seem to be all my favorite characters in the game will fall within those elements. Ayato, Ayaka, Shenhe, Ganyu, Neuvillette. I mean, the list goes on and on. Skirk, like all my favorite characters in the game seem to be of those elements. So I decided to start leveling them up, and I burned through Mora like crazy. Alright guys, with that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. That was the comparison. What do you guys think? Do you think C3R1 is overpowered, or do you think that this is just how all gacha games go eventually? Because power creep is an inevitability. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Godman out.